just give it like a 2 or 3 second count after you walk out there, and then they'll make your mic live.
All right. Marketplace Partner Program Engineer. Hi. I'm actually not the one presenting today, but thank you all for coming. Hey, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Thank you all for coming. I'm actually super excited about this presentation. We've had this marketplace, obviously, in the Sim since launch, and we've never done really any information sharing. And so I'm super happy today. Our head of business for FlightSim, Julie DeRamio, is going to give you a lot of insight. And then our partner, our program lead for the marketplace, Mabel, is going to give you more information, and then comes the marketplace partner engineering lead, Todd Heckel. And with that, Julie, if you can come up, have fun. I'll come back later on. Bye.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. As Jörg mentioned, I am the head of the marketplace team, or the business team, and I'm responsible for marketplace, licensing, and just general business. And I've been working with Jörg on FlightSim ever since he first pitched rebooting the franchise over 8 years ago. I'm really excited to be here with all of you today. It's my very first time at FlightSim Expo, and I've just been so overwhelmed with how nice everyone is, how passionate everybody is about simming, and just how much you've embraced the Microsoft Flight Simulator team. We just really feel the love and really appreciate it. So when we first thought about bringing a marketplace directly into the sim, we had 2 main goals. One was to make it easier for creators or add-on developers to address the widest possible audience. We always knew we were going to bring it to the Xbox audience, and so we wanted to make that available to you. And secondarily, we wanted to make it much easier for users to get content right in the experience. And we had really modest expectations of how well the marketplace was going to perform, so we started with a really small team of people, and we've been growing it over time. I'm sure many of you have felt the pain, maybe, of how small the team has been and how long it might take for your content to get into the marketplace, but we are making investments in this space, and the team will talk about that later on. We've really been thrilled with the performance of the marketplace so far, and it's really amazing to think about launching in August 2020 with just 8 pieces of content, and now we have over 3,700 pieces of content in the sim, which is really amazing, and thanks to a lot of you in the room. So my goal in the first part of the presentation is just to share some insights from the marketplace with you. So let's get started. Clicking. I did
Just
it.
the green button. Yeah, it looks like it's good. Audience, try again. Yeah, no joy. She's clicking the. No joy, guys.
Confirmed.
Yeah, it's coming out. We'll grab you the backup. Can we just advance to the next slide while we're waiting?
We'll stay here on audience real quick. Sorry, I'm yelling. So the first question is for us really, like, who is the audience? When you're thinking about selling add-ons in your marketplace, you want to know like how wide that top of the funnel is. So Jörg announced yesterday that we've, reached 15 million players in Microsoft Flight Simulator, which is unprecedented in this flight sim space. So that is really great for add-on developers. So now we can look at those users on a monthly basis and by platform. Or not. The build-up is amazing. Okay. So there are several platforms that our simmers can enjoy Microsoft Flight Simulator on. They can buy it on the Windows Store, they can buy it on Steam and play on PC, or they can buy it on the Xbox, or also on Xbox Games Cloud, what we call in shorthand xCloud. And simmers can acquire it a variety of ways. They can either pay a flat fee and get the sim that way, or they can sign up for Xbox Game Pass, pay a monthly subscription fee, and get it that way. So when you look at our players by platform, the largest number of users are on the Windows Store and Xbox, and that is due in part because they can access it through Game Pass. The Xbox or xCloud audience is a little smaller than those two, and they can be, they're accessing it maybe a different way. They can either play on low-end PCs, they can play on last-gen consoles, or they can even play on mobile. Now, Steam, the line in orange, has had historically the lowest volume of players, and that's really because they are gated behind a pay gate, right? They have to pay up front, but they are a consistent and really growing audience for us. And overall, this is what you want to see, like a really solid band of users that are coming back on a regular basis. Oh yeah, the clicker's working. All right, so now we'll pivot over to the marketplace audience, so who's actually paying for content. And I'll talk to you about the size, the geography of where these payers live, what platforms they're buying on, and what kind of content they're buying. So how many are there? So I'm here to announce today how exciting that we've had over 1 million people purchase content in the sim, which is thrilling for us. Now, we talk about pay rates, so that's the percentage of people that come into the sim who actually purchase content. They could purchase just one item and they would be considered a paying player, right? So if you look at the percentage of players that are paying for content, you can see we've been just slowly increasing that percentage over time as we've added more and more content to the sim. You'll also see spikes in pay rates when we run our platform sales. We have 4 tentpole sales that we run each year, and that really drives a lot of pay rate increases. And then one thing to notice here is that we had a really, the high watermark for pay rates occurred in April 2023. We had a conversion of 4 events happening at the same time that really drove that spike. So we had a spring sale we were running. We also introduced WASM, so we could bring more planes to the Xbox audience. We also had a plane where we gave the proceeds to charity that was wildly popular. And last but not least, we introduced a discount for first-party planes if players owned a premium version of the sim. So that really spiked there in April 2023. Now, if you look at the orange line, that's Steam again. It has historically been the highest monetizing audience as far as the percentage of players that purchase. And again, that's because they've already self-selected and said, I'm willing to pay, I've paid up front for this game, so they're a little more willing to pay. But we launched on Xbox almost a year after, and as we've added content to that marketplace as well, we've seen pay rates continue to increase. Now, it has overtaken the Steam audience here in the last 2 months, April and May. They've had higher conversion rates. And the Xbox audience for all Xbox games has really been a high-value audience for us. And that holds true for the players that are playing Flight Simulator as well. So we've got 1 million purchasers. How much are they spending? 58% of the audience has spent $50 or less. We've got 24% that have spent over $100, and we almost have 40,000 players who have spent more than $500 in the sim life to date. There's probably some of you even here in the room, so thank you for that. Now, where are these payers coming from? Where do they live? When we look at it by continent, it's probably not surprising to most of you that it's split between North America and Europe at 43%, and then followed very far behind with Asia at 6%. As far as our reporting to our creators, we're hoping to add country-level information so you can see that on a regular basis going forward, but I don't have any timing to announce on that yet. Now, what are they buying when they're in the marketplace? With FlightSim, it's not surprising that 42% of purchases are for aircraft. What might be a little more surprising is that the catalog, only 24% of the catalog is aircraft, so it really shows how people care about aircraft. And this is just an overall combined of all the platforms. It does vary by platform. So on the Windows Store, that audience is more open to non-aircraft purchasers. Their aircraft percentage is 37%. And then on the Xbox and xCloud, they are more focused on aircraft. The Xbox audience, 45% of their purchases are planes, and 51% of purchases on xCloud are for planes. All right, let's bring it home. We'll just give you a quick view of revenue here. So we've had consistent players. I've shown you the chart. We've seen those consistent players, and I've showed you the increase in pay rates that we've seen over time. And that just really equates to growing revenue all up for us. We've been able to deliver double-digit growth every year since we launched. What's probably most surprising for us is this Xbox percentage of our revenue. You know, we launched over 40 years ago, PC-only title. So we weren't sure how this market was going to perform and whether they were willing to pay. In 2023, 36% of our revenue came from the Xbox audience, which is awesome. And for those of you that are in the marketplace, you know that the royalty rates we provide are better on our platforms. And the good news is that our platforms make up 67% of the revenue as well. All right, I'm going to shift gears a little bit and talk a little bit about pricing. For add-on developers, that's one of the decisions you need to make when you're ready to release content. What price do you want to set it for? And it's also very intertwined with the quality of the content. So let me just share some more information here. First, I'm going to talk just about user research. So we regularly conduct surveys of our team, or of our users. So we did a survey, we do them all the time, but the two I'm sharing here, we did one in January 2021, and then we just did another one this month. And we asked people, you know, are you buying content in the marketplace? Like, the great news is, in between that time frame, we took the no's down from 64% down to 19%, which is amazing. But of course, we're going to focus on the negative for a moment. What about that 19% that hasn't purchased? Why don't they want to purchase? So the people saying there's no content they want to buy, luckily, that number has gone down dramatically, and that is really due to all the content that has been able to come to our marketplace. We've decreased that percentage by almost 50%. Other feedback we've had is it's hard to find content, or they don't know how to do it. Mabelle's going to talk to you a little bit about our new interface. And then sadly for us, the Microsoft team, we have seen an increase in people that desire to purchase content outside of the SIM. But what I really want to talk about is this one that has been hovering around 35 to 33% of people that just said the content's too expensive. So we do surveys, and we did one in October 21, specifically for the PC audience, and it's called a Van Westendorp sensitivity analysis, where you give people different price points and you say, is that too expensive? Is that too cheap? And then it tells you the optimal range. So this is specifically for PC players and specifically for airlines only. The optimal range came out to be between $12 and $19. For a more experienced player, that increased, and their optimal range was between $19 and $27. In the chart at the bottom, we also show the results of our Xbox respondents, and the main takeaway here is that the PC audience is willing to spend about 2 to 3 times what an Xbox player is willing to spend, except when you look at more novice players, and then the pricing differential goes away. But that's interesting, right? That's what people say they're going to purchase, but what do they really do? What are they purchasing? So we look specifically at aircraft by price band. The most popular price band with about 25% of the volume is the $15 to $20 range. And a whopping 73% want to spend $25 or less. Now, when you look at it based on user scores, it's not surprising that the higher rated content drives the bulk of the purchases. Over half of the purchases are for content that's rated a 4.1 or higher, and 86% if it's 3.1 or higher. Now, when we combine both of those together, the price and the user scores, you can kind of see where people are landing. What really popped out to me here is that in the sub $20 range, there's just a lot more appetite for content with ratings that are 3.5 or lower, as the expectations for quantity really increase in the higher price points. In the $40 range, there is no content that's purchased that's below a 3.6 user score. And I also think that has to do with add-on developers who are pricing their content appropriately. If they're going to price their content above $40, they're pretty confident they've got a good quality product. Now, if I shift my focus here and look just at airports, the price bands shift to the lower prices a bit here. The $10 to $15 price point is the most popular, but it's really a normal distribution curve here. I think the most interesting thing is just how the purchases drop off above $20 for an airport. Now, this didn't pop on the other slide, so I wanted to break it out here, but when you look at it by user score, it's just really clear that airports really sell when they are high quality. They need to be a 3.6 or higher. 79% of purchases happen at a 4.1 or higher. There are over 1,800 airports available, so purchasers can just be much choosier with the content that they're purchasing. So since it's a more competitive market, I thought I'd share some heat maps of where these purchases are occurring. Sure, it's not that shocking, but it's really focused on European airports and then a lot of the coast of North America as well. Just digging into Europe a little bit. A lot of focus on Germany, London, Switzerland. Oh, and I have one more thing. So I know it's bad form to talk about money amongst friends, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I just want to talk a little bit about the economics of bringing your content to our marketplace. When you agree to the marketplace agreement, we tell you the percentage that we'll pay you for your content. That percentage is based on the USD list price of the content. What actually happens is that Microsoft doesn't get the USD list price. We actually accept purchases in all sorts of currencies, so we absorb the currency impact of all of those purchases. So you might think maybe that there are better royalty rates somewhere else, but if you consider that we're paying you off of money that we're not receiving, you can actually add 6 percentage points to what you're getting, and that's actually what you're getting of what Microsoft receives. So just wanted to make you aware of that as you're thinking about where to put your content day and date, because we'd love to have it in our store. All right, I'm going to hand it off to Mabel, who is going to talk to you about 2024. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. So, as Julie mentioned, I am the Microsoft Flight Simulator Marketplace Program Lead. I joined the team just before we launched MSFS 2020 4 years ago. And we started with a handful of items in the InSim marketplace and are currently sitting at almost 4,000 items released. So it's been so wonderful to see the energy and enthusiasm of our creator and player community, and we're just super delighted to be here at FlightSim Expo with you today. Thank you for joining us. So I will be giving you a high-level overview of the marketplace content in 2024. So here's a first look at the marketplace homepage in 2024. So we heard your feedback on 2020. You want the marketplace to be more streamlined, look less cluttered, and allow content to be found more quickly. So core design principles for 2024 were simplicity, ease of navigation, and discoverability of content. Jorg and Seb have also mentioned our commitment to backward compatibility, and we are bringing 2020 content to 2024 so that Simmers can continue to use the content library that you built in 2020 and add to it in 2024. No need to start from scratch. We're also doing this so that products that developers released in 2020 can carry forward. And you can monetize your content in 2024 based on your existing catalog. So the plan for most 2020 content is to be available in 2024 with some exceptions. The team is focused on making aircraft work because, as Julie mentioned, that is a really big category for us in the marketplace. And there are significant efforts underway, along with automated testing, for airports and sceneries. Some areas where issues may be encountered include add-ons that refer to biomes and missions. So our top priority remains making the content transition from 2024 as friction-free and easy as possible. So with almost 4,000 items in the 2020 marketplace, how do we bring content over to 2024? So this will be a bit of an involved process, so bear with me as I walk you through it. So Asobo will start by migrating the entire 2020 marketplace catalog to 2024. And it's important to note here that migrating is not the same as releasing. By migrating, we mean that content will be brought over to the 2024 pipeline, but not released. The migrated content will then be made available to the respective developers for functional testing, just like what we do now for 2020. And content must have developer sign-off to be released in the 2024 marketplace. If we don't have developer sign-off, the migrated content is not released in 2024. And all 2020 content submitted going forward will go through the same process. Content carried over from 2020 will be marked 2020 in the 2024 marketplace, as you can see there with the little circles around the content. So for our content compatibility story, we prioritize you, the simmer, and your experience. So continuing with the goal of making things as simple and seamless as possible, your content will follow you both ways. So if for all 2020 marketplace content that you have purchased, you automatically own the migrated version in 2024 if it is available. And on the flip side, if you purchase the migrated 2020 version in 2024, you also automatically own the content in 2020. So content carried over from 2020 will also be marked 2020 in the 2024 Content Manager. And in addition to content compatibility, both developers and simmers will have more choice in 2024. If you're a content developer, you can choose to make a 2024 version of your 2020 content. You can also choose to offer an upgrade from the 2020 version as free or paid. So if you do make a 2024 version, it will replace the carried over version in the marketplace. And new purchasers can buy the 2024 version at the full price that you set as the developer. And 2020 version owners can still access the carried over version if it's available, but they can also choose to get the 2024 version at the upgrade price that the developer sets. And you can see there by the side-by-side screenshots of what you will see if you're a new purchaser for content versus an 2020 owner who has an upgrade path available. So we can't have a marketplace without our valued partners who create the content. So also want to provide a quick update on our partner program and workflow. If you're a marketplace partner approved for 2020, you remain approved for 2024. There is no need to reapply. Thanks. So we do have a long list of pending applications, as you all may be aware. We are continuing to work through this. Our community team has asked which developers you would like to see on the marketplace, and your feedback helps improve our review and approval process, so thank you for that. And of course, it's provided the developers called out have applied to our program. And the content process for our partners is being streamlined for 2024, which will be covered in the next part of this presentation. And last but not least, we have a few things becoming available in late September 2024 that we'd like to share with you today. So we'll have the 2024 SDK and build. We'll have the 2020 migrated content available for partner testing. And we will also have the submission pipeline for 2024 content, for which I'll hand off to Todd to go into more detail.
Hello, everybody. As George said, I am with the Marketplace Partner Program team. We are responsible for developing the tools and the processes that are used to ingest content and get it into the InSim marketplace. So I'm going to talk about some of the improvements that we're making in that process, to streamline and help you get your content into the marketplace faster. Just curious if I could have maybe a show of hands, how many of you are approved marketplace developers? Okay, so kind of a 50-50 mix. Well, if you're interested in the program, you can see here on the main flight simulator website, there's a link to apply to the program. And you can also get to that sign-up flow from Partner Center. You can see the link there, kind of in the left-hand side, the Microsoft Flight Simulator Partner Program. Okay, so those of you who are approved partners are familiar with the website. We call it the Marketplace Content Portal, MCP for short. How many of you get the reference? Tron? Monitor Control Program, okay. So this is where you can upload your content and keep track of the content that you've previously uploaded. And then you can also monitor the progress of your content through the testing process, ingestion and testing process. Now, you're also aware that the functional testing is the responsibility of the partner. So we have the UI here where you are informed when your content is available to you in your segment and ready for you to sign off. So once that's available to you, you will test it on your side, and then you will sign off on the content once it's complete. Now, as with 2020, your content packages will be uploaded through MCP. And we're working on improving what we call the validation that happens. So things like invalid characters and file names or incorrect thumbnail resolutions will be caught earlier in the process instead of having to get informed through Teams. You'll find out as soon as you upload. So you'll get that immediate feedback. Unlike in 2020, where much of the process, the ingestion process, is manual, the entire process in 2024 is going to be automated. This means you'll be able to iterate faster, your content will be available to preview in the game and to test almost immediately. Now for Xbox, with WASM, there still is going to be some turnaround time to process the WASM, but we are also making changes to shorten that time. So, you know, instead of taking over a week, as it currently does, it'll be much faster than that. So what this means is there's no waiting for Microsoft to hand the content back to you to test it. You'll be able to perform your testing and ensure that the content is ready to be released on your own, you know, time frame. Now, one big change to the process for 2024, if you recall, in 2020, you author your marketplace, we call the metadata, in the project editor, in the SDK, and then that's exported as part of the package that's submitted to the MCP website. And here you can see a screenshot where we pull out some of that data just to validate the data and indicate, you know, if there's any issues like, you know, the title doesn't have the iCow in it for airports, you know, for example. In 2024, all of the marketplace data entry is moving to the website, is moving to MCP, so that will no longer be done in the SDK or in the project editor. So you'll enter the title, your price, description, categories, tags, and also add your thumbnails, manage your thumbnails here. What this means is you'll be able to submit your content packages separate from the marketplace data. And if you have to make changes to the marketplace data, if you do have a problem with a thumbnail or you want to change the price, you don't have to re-upload the entire content package. So, yeah, we think that'll greatly speed things up. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, you'll be testing your content prior to submitting it, okay? The content will be ingested automatically, you can do your testing, and then when it's ready, you'll submit a release request. At that point, that will kick off the process on our end with our test teams, our QA, and the content will be automatically released once that process is complete. So this will reduce all the time lost currently, you know, to going back and forth through teams, you know, on issues that get discovered and then resubmissions that have to take place. So we're hoping to, again, this will greatly speed up the process. Once you submit that release request, that's it, you're done. The content will show up when it gets through the pipeline on our end. Okay, so that's the main flow. There are some additional improvements that we're planning to make using through the Marketplace Content Portal. One of the big ones will be sales. As some of you know, right now the process for handling sales is also very manual. You have to submit a request through Teams, or you receive an invitation through Teams, and then you provide the information about which products you want to put on sale, how much, so on and so forth, all done, you know, manually. That will all move into the MCP website, and you'll be able to handle all of that, you know, in a more streamlined fashion. Hangar descriptions, which are the text that shows up in the hangar once a user has purchased the product. These are written by writers on our side and then handed off to the developer to be included in the package. And then when localization takes place, there's another handoff that has to happen that can be somewhat tricky, you know, and problematic. That's all going to go away. We're going to be implementing a centralized database for the hangar descriptions, and you'll just include a reference in your package to the to the description. So yeah, that should ease a lot of the pain and suffering as well. And then finally, for user access to MCP, we'll have the ability for you to add users, have some controls over who can do what without having to go through teams when you want to add more people, give more people access to your content management. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm back. Hello. All right. I hope you enjoyed this. This was an experiment, just to be super clear, right? We're like, hey, we don't ever talk about the marketplace. Understand? I was just talking with Evan about the chat. Some people are like, hey, I'm a gamer, why am I launching this? And then some other people are like, hey, I'm a developer, this is great information. So I think we're just, in general, we want to be very transparent with everything, and we want to have a dialogue. So this is a dialogue. This was an experiment. Give us some feedback in the chat. We will read it all, like always. I would say, from my perspective, the marketplace stuff is super important for a couple of reasons. Like, so I look at the first slides that Julie showed, for example, about, hey, this is all about, for example, North America and Western Europe. Should it always be that? I can tell you, like when I chatted yesterday about the 38 world updates that are currently planned, or 28 to go basically, or whatever. That's mostly focusing on other places, South America, Asia, and we will bring new markets to flight simming, which I think is really important, and it might mean something to y'all. The other things, I hope you like the new UI. That was a sneak peek. It's pretty slick. The other thing that was said, I don't know if you caught it, I was sort of joking back there because I was sitting back there, I was like, I think there was a soft announcement when we're shipping the SDK. So the target actually is, and I think Mabel said it, end of September we should have the SDK in your hands if you're a developer. So that gives you enough time. Yeah, and I think that's basically it. Give us some feedback. This is not going to be a one-off. We're going to have that marketplace team give dev Q&As, kind of like what we do. We need to have more dialogue. I think it's been too one way or no way even. So please participate in that. It might be, I don't know, might be quarterly or something. We haven't really quite figured it out yet. But anyways, I hope you liked it. Thank you so much for coming, and have a great rest of the Expo.